Hello, my name is Cory. I'm an MDM technical sales specialist with IBM, and I'm here to show you how to customize IBM's MDM Advanced Edition solution. The scenario is a developer has just received requirements and is getting ready to extend the data model through the requirement sessions. This whole demo is going to be end-to-end, so a day in the life in the developer seat should only take about 10 to 15 minutes. And at the end, I'll proceed to run a few tests just to show you how the extensions are now automatically integrated with the out-of-the-box services. So let's begin and open up at Rational Application Developer. We're creating a completely new workspace. And notice the welcome screen. You can close out of this. My runtime environment password, MDM admin. Select finish. Now we're going to change just a couple settings within WAS. The first being under publishing settings for WebSphere application server, we want to select run server with resources on server. Under the timeout section, you can extend the stop and start times to 3600 and 1200 respectively. And under publishing, we can select never publish automatically. Now we can save and exit out of this. Now we're ready to start a new project. What I'd like to do next is in the Enterprise Explorer window, we're going to right-click, New, select Other. But then the wizard, we want to select MDM Project, so Master Data Management, Development Project, and select Next. Then we go ahead and call this Demo Module. Under the base Java packaging, we'll just say com.demo.module. Next, identifier is the same as the project name. The database schema, in my case, is db2 admin. I'll select finish. I do want to work in the MDM development perspective. And now I'm ready to get started. So I'll select the Model tab here in the Demo Module Overview. And here's my folder. And I want to start by extending the person table. And so what this means is I want to physically augment and add additional attributes for my requirements into the system. This is automatically not only going to extend the person table, but for every operational table, MDM also provides history tables. So it's automatically going to add these new attributes to the history tables. And then additionally, it's going to sync up all the out-of-the-box services that integrate with these specific tables. So I'm going to right-click, select New, and you'll see a lot of different capabilities here. We can select new entity types, which are additional tables. We can do pre- and post-transactional validation, create new errors, code tables. I'm going to select entity type extension. I mentioned I'll be extending the person table, so I'll go ahead and say X person. X is just a common standard we use to designate what we're extending. And for the database table name, this little dialog box here will allow you to kind of run through a tree and identify the tables, or you just type it in the search window and have it find it for you. I'll select person. But notice database table name still says X person. So you can create a new table to house your extensions. You can also augment the existing table. And that's what I want to do. So I'm going to select Add Fields to Base Table. You'll notice the database table name just switched from X person to person. Now I can proceed to add my attributes. I'll right-click and select New Attribute. Let's do X Preferred Customer Indicator. I'll keep this a string, but change the length to 1. I'll make it nullable and persistent. Let's add another attribute. Let's call it X customer send state. This will be a timestamp. And I'll make it time zone sensitive, nullable, and persistent. And lastly, we'll switch it up a little bit and add a type code. So out of the box, MDM provides a large amount of code tables, one being for state codes. So I'll say X birth state. And I need to select a code table that houses these values. So I can, again, scroll through the tree, or if I know what the table name is, I can find it very easily by doing a search. So now we have it synced up to the province state type table, which houses all the state codes. I'll make this nullable. And that's about it. So I've just added my 3 new attributes. I'm going to validate the model to verify there's no problems found. And then I'll generate code, which will be building my package. And additionally, it'll be creating the necessary SQL to run against the MDM system. And this will be to extend the person and history person tables. Okay, so this finished up. What you'll notice under MDM shared resources now is in the SQL directory, you'll have various SQLs for whichever databases you are using. I'm using a DB2, so I have my setup DB2 SQL. This has all the SQL that needs to be run. I'm just going to simply drag and drop this in my resources directory within my project, and I'll come back to that once I deploy my application. So I'm going to go ahead and start my application server. This will allow me to deploy my custom package to the server and the MDM operational server. Server's now been started, so now I can select it and say add, remove. I can take my custom package and add it to the server, select finish. I'll let that synchronize. Once that's complete, go back to my servers and come down to my package, and I can manage extensions and actually deploy this to the MDM application itself. So I'll manage extensions, I'll select advanced, hit information from server, then I can select the operational server for the business level application, for the composition unit, the .dba file. I'll select finish. Once this completes, I'll be finished with deploying the actual package The last step will be to run my SQL, and then we can proceed to test the customization. Okay, so we have completed synchronization. So I'm actually going to stop my application server. And while that's stopping, I'm going to come over to the Data Source Explorer window. What I want to do is configure my MDM11 database. So I'm going to select MDM11DB, I'll select Properties, and then under Driver Properties, I want to enter in the username and password. So the username is db2admin. The password is db3admin with a capital A. I'll save my password, test the connection. Being succeeded. Looks great. So that's completed. I'll come back to my Package Explorer window, and I'll open up that SQL that we created just a little bit ago. And I'll say Open with SQL and XQuery Editor. And what I need to do is twofold. I need to establish which database connection the SQL will be running against, and then I need to actually run it. So I'll right-click and select Use Database Connection. We just set up the MDM11 database connection, so I'm going to select that one. Now that that's complete, I can right-click and execute. You'll see the SQL executing in the status window, and if you expand the status column, you'll see all successes. So we're set. So now I'm going to just go ahead and start this server now. That is the extent of work you have to do. So 10 to 12 minutes, and I just end-to-end completed a customization for the MDM solution. So while that's starting, I'm going to go ahead and just get some tests ready. What I want to show you is a persistent service and an inquiry service. Again, the work that I just did, MDM automatically is integrating that with all the out-of-the-box services, specifically the ones that actually utilize that table. So these two services that I'll be running, the add person and the get person, do utilize that table. And this is just to show you how they're automatically integrated. So I'll go ahead and select this service. I have an MDM tester UI And all this essentially is a tool to allow you to run XML. I'm running XML so I could show you that this is an add person XML request, and you can see the extension piece that's been added to this. So we have the X preferred customer indicator, X customer sent state, X birth state. 41 is actually Ohio, so we should see that in the response after we run this. Check to verify our server has been started. It's started, okay. I'll go ahead and execute this XML against the MDM system. What this should be doing is adding an individual by the name of James Robinson. And with that, the 3 new additional attributes we just added. So the request was successful. And we can also see that we did in fact add the 3 new attributes. Now, that was a persistent service. So what I want to do next is to grab this party ID. I'll clear this out. And I want to actually perform a get. So I have a get party service right here. I'm going to select this and run it. I should see a similar response. Success, bringing back James Robinson and his information. And of course, the extended object. So all the specific attributes that I just extended just a little bit ago. So end to end, 10 to 15 minutes, we just were able to extend the data model, deploy it, and test the solution to verify that my changes in fact did work. I hope this helped in providing you with a good idea on how easy it is to customize IBM MDM solution. Thanks for watching.